Hello, outdoor lovers and lovers of various pieces of gear and equipment. Today, we're going to review and update some of the discussion topics that we've discussed in the past. But first of all, before we get into all that, I'm going to pause and give you a rhetorical question, and that is, are you zeroed? Now, I do these videos to provide entertainment, sometimes even a little bit of levity, while at the same time being able to, multitask, kill a few different birds with the same stone, and test my gear. It's a great way to, stay active, make sure your equipment's operating, and also maybe have a little bit of fun at the same time. But with a lot of the different recent events, and it seems like there's always more and more recent events as of late, and a lot of them have been kind of hitting some folks in the fifis. I know they have been me. I know they have been some younger people in my family that were big followers of certain people that have recently experienced unfortunate events, and I'm still kind of feeling the whole thing with the kids from a few weeks ago, right? So I'm not a big consumer of news and all the events, but these things have a way of reaching everyone, and it's been a little rough. And I think it's important to take the time to not only ponder kind of where you're at philosophically, but also where you are at as far as your, you know, equipment. And are you zeroed? Is your body zeroed? Are you in a better place with your fitness? This is something that I've been talking about for years, and some folks might have noticed the transformation through the years into my whole fitness journey, which feeds into my martial arts journey, which feeds into my spiritual journey. And I'm not going to elaborate and opine much on that in this particular video. I'm going to actually show you some pieces of gear that we've been testing. But I think it's important to realize why we do this stuff, right? And for me, it's all about protecting life. And it's important to have a purpose. I always think that a man needs to have something to live for. He's got to have something to love, and he's got to have something to look forward to. I mean, I'm always looking forward to doing something. I'm a man of many hobbies, but apart from that, my purpose as far as trying to remain humble and be as good a man as a man can be, because we're fallen and all sinners in our inherent nature. But with all that being said, I think it's important to stay zeroed, not only from an equipment standpoint, but from a spiritual standpoint. And so I won't belabor the point any further on that, but it's been a rough week, and it's been hitting some people harder than I thought. But let's go ahead and go into some more fun topics, shall we? Now, today we spent the day at the range and going through some of our equipment, configuring things before we went to the range. I've been testing out this new 4x20 carry handle scope for my Colt AR-15 here. This is a pre-ban, old school SP1. We talked about this in the last video. And so we just popped off a few 22 rounds through the conversion kit here, but we've had plenty of opportunities to take this down to the range and actually verify. First, we went a couple of days ago just for the iron sights, and today we went to make sure we were zeroed in on that 4x20. So this is not the Colt Repro. This is a Amazon kind of El Cheapo special, but it seems to be working pretty good. And in comparison to some of the other 4x20 carry scopes like from Barska, I'm digging this one a little bit more than the Barska, but more on that later. We went down there, shot in the prone mostly, zeroed it in, had to make a few adjustments on the scope. Again, 4x20, no real, as far as distance or actual adjustment, but making the adjustments as far as windage and elevation. And so it's good to go. So we'll keep testing it and see how it goes. But that's the rifle, the SP1. I don't know what year this was made, but it's a pretty sweet little shooter, and it's got, well, with the regular bolt in it, it's got some really smooth action. But that little conversion kit is what it is. So now we've had a lot of discussion on the military surplus. And in past videos, we went through the belt, kind of the whole Alice belt setup, the LC1. We were running the Y harness in the past with the butt pack. We switched out for an H harness. We've also upgraded the belt to more of a medium-sized belt, if you will. And this is adjusted in as far as it can go. And I still got quite a lot of room there, but I'm making it work. I've been spending a lot of time in this, doing a little bit of patrolling about and getting used to the weight, and it's been working pretty good. I raised up the butt pack earlier, but those of you that have seen my past videos might notice some of the changes. Another thing too, from the past video, we added this pistol pouch. So one real cool thing that I wanted to do was test out a different configuration for the pistol. Now I want to get this where this is more further down here, but I'm making it work. And what I have in here is an old school P228. This is a West German P228. So made before the Berlin Wall fell. And it is empty, so, and safe. So this of course is the double action, single action that you can go all day with the double action with it empty, but once that first round goes off, then you're going in the single action configuration, which is a silky smooth trigger on that. I mean, this was back when you really couldn't find much to say negative about Sig Sauer. Today, not so much, but we won't belabor that point either. But no, the 228 is good to go. I think they did have this in like a military configuration, I guess, for a while. I believe it was like the M11 or something, famously issued to some special forces. But P228, nice little truncated version of the P226, and a pretty sweet little shooter. So that brings me back to that new 9mm pouch, new surplus, and in that we have some spare bullets for the P228. And this is actually a magazine for my P226, so it'll stick out a little bit. Actually, I'll show you. Because the one in here is also for a 226. You can see it sticks out a little bit. But look at that magazine ejection. So other than that, not really a lot of upgrades to this particular belt. We still have the little compass pouch here with the triangular bandage, compass pouch here with an actual tourniquet in there. And then there's a compass pouch here with a compass. So 3 compass pouches, 2 of them with some quick access trauma stuff, and then an actual compass. And then we have the butt pack that we've shown in past videos, and as opposed to the bayonet, which will go, oh, looks like this one needs to be back on. Besides the bayonet, which will go on the Colt, I swapped out for this here pilot knife, this Air Force pilot knife. So that's it as far as the gear. Really, the only other thing of note is that I do have the main 223 or 5.56 bolt in the butt pack that I can swap out. And in the actual magazine pouches, I have all the ones for the conversion kit in 22 marked with this pink tape. And we have just a couple. See that? It's marked Home Defense. It's because those are soft point rounds. So I think it's important to keep your things labeled and organized. So what else did we do? Oh, I'm going to show you the 6.5 Creedmoor. I'm going to adjust the camera. So in the last video, we showed, we actually unboxed this new Magpul bipod. And I mentioned that it was going to go for a very particular application, which I have right here. And this is my Daniel Defense DD5 V5 20-inch and 6.5 Creedmoor. And so I needed a decent bipod. I was running some CV Life bipods, which do work, but you pay for what you get sometimes in a lot of cases. And this Magpul bipod has a lot of features, a lot of ability to go pivot in different configurations that are not there in some of the cheaper options. So went down and actually verified the 0 today on this particular setup. This is, I guess you would call a special purpose setup, being that we have the 6.5 Creedmoor 20-inch, kind of a long range setup here, and this is the Pulsar Trail 50 thermal. Kind of a cool little device for seeing thermal imagery. Of course, those of you that are familiar with the various forms of night vision, thermal uses the heat signature and the infrared spectrum to sight in objects. So you see everything as an array based off the heat. And a lot of people don't realize that you can use it in the daytime too. And I do and have, especially for squirrel on property, which I do not eat, but do consider a nuisance varmint. So now, another thing about this particular setup is it does have the 7.62 Ventum can on it, which is a really great option because I can take off 6.5 upper, and then I have a 16-inch 308 7.62 by 51 upper that I can put on that has a light on it that I can run in more of a battle rifle setup. That one has more of a, I think it's a 3x9 scope on it, so a little bit more appropriate for that style of rifle. But we did spend some time today verifying the 0 on this, kind of an interesting thing to do in the daytime. There's a lot of different little techniques you can use. You can use the difference in what I call black body radiation and actually see the difference in colors on a target. Some people use water bottles with hot water in them to aid in the thermal zeroing, and some people use cigarettes taped up there, which I've done all of the above in the past. So spent some time down there verifying the 0, getting some rounds off. That 6.5 Creedmoor, of course, is a very spendy round in today's overall ammo structure, but you got to shoot what you got, and so that's what we've been doing. And I think other than that, other than verifying the 0, it was just good to actually get out on the range and spend some time with other people. Um, there was a lot of shooters out today. The entire range was full. Kind of a lot of excitement in the air, along with a lot of sorrow. You can kind of tell there's a little bit of a tension going on. It's going to be interesting to see how things kind of evolve through time. But of course, we just try to remain peaceful out here in our own little set apart place. Don't bug anybody. Just want to be left alone. But, if trouble comes knocking, got to be ready, right? So, apart from that, I did want to share today's big blade. I am a big blade guy, of course, so this is kind of an interesting find, being that we talked about the last video about the concept of a bolo and the ginanting as far as Filipino martial arts. And this is a very interesting offering that I'm seeing go out of stock and not be available more and more. This is the Condor Terrachete. And you may notice the very distinct bolo shape or leaf shaped blade. So in the Philippine Islands, the bolo is considered in many cases to be a multi-tool. So the fact that the bolos have this kind of big paddle leaf shape not only makes them effective choppers, machetes, weapons, but in some cases, digging tools. And I always like to have a digging tool with me because it says very, very clearly in Deuteronomy that you must maintain a digging implement in case you have to bury your waste and not be on a fence before the Most High. So the Condor Terrachete, you might want to go pick one up while you can. This is actually kind of a special blade, being that this was required packing list for a training course that I really wanted to go to, but was not selected for. So didn't get to go. So it's got a little bit of a sentimental value to it, and it's hasn't really been used. So I think I'm going to give this away as a holiday gift to somebody this year that might be in need of a big blade. As a matter of fact, that's going to be the theme this year for holiday gifts. With everything going on in the world, I just want to make sure everybody has a big blade. It's kind of a thing for me. But a couple years ago, I gave away copies of the scriptures to everybody. This year, I'm going to be giving out blades. So with that, stay safe out there. Keep your head up. Try to do something to make yourself more dangerous. But maintain shalom.